Hey, what's up, guys? Kool-Aid here, and today I got some 32-player TDM on Karg Island. I'm going to be using the UMP-45, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I don't really do too many of these gun reviews. Once in a while, I'll do them when new guns are released. However, something really has to catch my eye in order for me to actually do a video just about the weapon. And this gun today it's probably the first time I've used this gun since it got buffed, and that is a mistake. This gun is an absolute monster. I've used this for about 7 games today, all TDM, just to get a really good feel of how it works for straight gunplay. And I must say, this gun immediately jumps to the top of my list as maybe the best deathmatch gun in the game. And I say deathmatch gun because, typically in TDM your encounters are going to be close range and close range. I mean, that's all there is to say. There's not a whole lot of long range action going on, and you can typically kind of pick and choose your fights a little more in deathmatch than you can in other game modes. So even though the UMP has some pretty big weaknesses, they can kind of be disguised in team deathmatch. So that is why, I kind of bumped this gun up. And I'll tell you exactly what happened to this gun. Before the patch, this gun was pretty horrible. It was actually, I would consider this to be one of the worst guns in the game, if not the worst gun in the game before the patch. It was a 25 damage weapon, 600 rounds per minute rate of fire, which is not very good. It's one of the slower fully auto guns in the game. And on top of that, it only holds 26 rounds. 25 rounds in the mag, 1 in the chamber. So there really was no point in using this weapon before the patch. So in the last patch, they bumped this up to a 34 damage gun. Doing that automatically makes this gun very unique and very, very relevant. It's very unique in the fact that it is the only PDW in the game with 34 damage. It is also unique because there are only a handful of guns in the game that are 34 damage, or a handful of fully automatic guns in the game, I should say. Three of those of which are light machine guns, which people automatically dismiss because of the fact that they suffer from the accuracy penalty. So that leaves the UMP-45, the G3A3, and the Scar H is the only other guns in the game that are 34 damage. So to kind of compare these 34 damage guns, we're going to automatically rule the Scar H out here because it's in the engineer kit, and we're talking specifically about team deathmatch. So really engineer kit shouldn't really fall in line here. If you're really focusing on TDM, really trying to do your best, you're going to be playing assault. So the G3 and the UMP-45 can both be used in the assault kit, obviously. So to compare the G3 and the UMP-45, first off, the G3 holds 21 rounds fully loaded, whereas the UMP holds 26 rounds. Obviously, 5 more rounds is nice. It's not a huge deal. The G3 you can get a few kills before that magazine runs out. The UMP-45, I was definitely getting 3 or 4 kills at certain times without running the mag dry. So there is good multi-kill potential there because of the 34 damage on both guns. I would say, the plus actually goes to the UMP-45, obviously, though. Rate of fire, the G3 is 550 rounds, whereas I mentioned the UMP-45 is 600 rounds, so a slight edge against the UMP-45 there. Now, the big thing that I look for in a TDM gun is hip fire. Now, if you look at the hip fire of the G3 and the UMP-45, the G3 is not quite as bad as it looks for me because I use it in single fire mode. To me, that makes the hip fire a little bit better. However, it's still not comparable to the UMP-45. The UMP-45 automatically gets that, PDW bonus, whereas all PDWs have really good hip fire aside from the AS Val. So the hip fire on the UMP-45 is amazing, whereas the G3, if you're using it in fully auto, is going to be very subpar. So after hearing all that, you're probably thinking the UMP-45 is the bee's knees. Well, it does have one glaring weakness, and that is the damage drop-off. The damage actually drops off at 40 meters and drops all the way down to 12.5. That is very, very fast
'Cause I could fucking
and
destroy
very,
this whole
very low
server.
damage at that point. Even the other
So why would
assault
you wanna do
rifles
it?
that aren't the G3 don't
Because
drop
I know
off
what I'm
fully
doing.
until 50
doesn't
meters, and then they only
trust
drop
me.
down to 18.5. So at 40 meters and
talking about
longer,
Minecraft,
any
I'm playing
25 damage gun, or a 25 damage assault rifle, I should say, is going to be doing
my
more
daughter
damage
on
than the
YouTube, you
UMP-45,
guys can watch
even
Minecraft.
though their initial damage
Cool. How old is she?
is higher. So
Never mind.
to take that even one step further, if you compare that to the G3, which is the other 34 damage gun that we're kind of talking about here, the G3 does not fully drop off until 60 meters, and then it stays at 22 damage. So at 60 meters, 20 meters further than the UMP drop off, the G3 is still almost doing twice as much damage. That is huge. However, that is why I specifically said Team Deathmatch
Fuck that, I
gun.
built a castle.
Team Deathmatch, you can really disguise the weaknesses of this gun. In Team Deathmatch, you really don't have many times where you have to get into a long range encounter unless it's your choice. Typically, if somebody's going to be at a long range, you have somewhere you can duck behind. You don't have to run out in the middle and expose yourself like you might have to do in Conquest or Rush. So I think you can really disguise the weaknesses of this gun, where you can also really, exaggerate the upside of this gun. You can really just kind of pick and choose your kills a lot better in Team Deathmatch. And some of you are probably wondering why I didn't compare it to, the top of the line assault rifles like the AK M416 and M16A3, and why I just compared it to the G3, because we all know the G3 is not in the same class as those assault rifles. However, the G3, like I explained in another video the other day, has amazing potential because of that, 34 damage, which the UMP-45 shares. Well, a couple of the things holding the G3 back from being in the same category as those were the hip fire and the low magazine count. The UMP-45 more than makes up for that hip fire difference. It has better hip fire than all of those three assault rifles that I mentioned, and the magazine is in between. It's basically splits the difference between the 30 and the 20 rounds. So, am I saying it's better than the AEK or the M416 or M16? No, but I'm saying if you play a certain play style, if you are incredibly aggressive, if you really find yourself having all close quarter encounters, then possibly the UMP-45 might actually be a notch ahead of them guns right now. And because of that, I keep asking myself the question, is the UMP-45 overpowered? Well, it really depends on how you look at it. I kind of view the UMP-45 kind of like a shotgun with flechette right now. That might sound a little strange, but hear me out. Both of these guns, a shotgun with flechette, specifically a pump, and the UMP-45 are very, very, very good at one thing. That is close quarters domination. At longer ranges, these guns are absolute trash. At mid ranges, they're absolute trash. So, are they overpowered? I mean, I guess that really just depends on how you look at it. Because of their glaring weaknesses at range, I'm not going to call the UMP-45 overpowered. Is it a noob gun? I don't know. That's not the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I'm not really going to make a judgment on that yet. Going to use it a little bit more and get some more opinions from some friends whose opinions I actually trust. So, in that regard, I'm not going to make a final judgment. As for attachments on this gun, this is another thing that's kind of unique to me because, as you've probably never ever seen me use a suppressor on a weapon. And I'm not necessarily against suppressors. I'm just so pro heavy barrel on most weapons that the heavy barrel advantages just outweigh the suppressor advantages to me. Also, on the weapons that don't have the heavy barrel, such as the PDWs, which I use a lot, you typically got to put extended mag in that slot, I believe. So really, there's not really a chance to use the suppressor that much. On this weapon, it's a bit unique. Like I said, you get to use the suppressor and the laser sight. The only other option, I think, besides suppressor is flash suppressor. Normally, I would use that still over a suppressor. But let me explain here. There is two ways of looking at this. We already established the weakness of the UMP-45 is the long range. So throwing a suppressor on there is going to make it even weaker at long range. Now some people would look at that and say, why make the weakness of the gun even weaker? But I look at that and say, I'm not going to play into the weakness of the gun. I am not going to be shooting people at long range anyway, so having a suppressor on there is going to stop me from getting pinged on the map and really not have much of a downside. All my kills are going to become in close range, where the slowdown of bullet speed isn't going to come into play anyway. So that is why I would recommend the suppressor on the UMP-45, along with the laser sight, obviously, for the hip fire. And that's pretty much all I got. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with the whole UMP-45 being better than some of these assault rifles, but I'll gladly respond to your comments in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.